Hello and welcome to Stickers on the Mic podcast. Whether you are a first-time listener or you are a repeated sticker enthusiast who loves hearing stories from businesses and founders on our podcast, welcome. I am super excited to have on today John Clinton, the founder of ColoradoCool Apparel. And my name is Jesse from the Sticker Giant marketing team. I will be your host today. But without further ado, John, welcome to the show. I'd love for you to introduce yourself, just give us a little background, and then we're going to talk more about ColoradoCool Apparel.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on, Jesse. It's a business owner who's been ordering stickers from Sticker Giant for like 5 or 6 years now. Super excited to be on. I grew up in Colorado Springs, studied graphic design at CSU, and started ColoradoCool in 2016. So thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here, John. And I love the Colorado design and flag in the background you're representing already. And excited to talk about Colorado in general. For those of you out there who don't know, Sticker Giant is also based in Colorado. So John is a local customer of ours. But John, I think we just love to hear about more. What is ColoradoCool Apparel? And maybe tell us a little bit about how the business got started and maybe how long you've been in business too.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first design job that I had after CSU was for a company called Zephyr, a hat company based in Loveland. And so I kind of got my start there and realized, pretty quickly that being kind of an entry-level designer, I wasn't going to get to work on stuff like, Nuggets hats and things like that, which I eventually did get to work on after working there for a while, which was super amazing. Jesse and I were talking about the Nuggets being in the finals for the first time ever for a good 10 minutes before we fired this thing up. I got my gear on here. So really, I wasn't even intending to start a company at first. I just really wanted to get better at graphic design. When I was in college, I did enough to get by and everything, but I wasn't one of those kids in class who was showing up with all these amazing projects and putting a ton of time in outside of the classroom. And once I started that as my career, I was like, man, I really want to step my game up and get better at this. And so after work every day, I was going home and trying to get better about just doing design in my free time, just to kind of hone my craft and step my game up, seeing, some of the higher level designers at Zephyr and how good they were and how maybe I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And I kind of found myself consistently designing Colorado themed stuff. I grew up here, grew up in Colorado Springs, like I said. And a lot of the stuff that I was kind of incorporating was like mountains, I was like getting more and more into trail running and hiking and things like that. And so next thing I knew, I kind of was like, all right, well, this would be a little more fun if I come home and have a little bit of direction every day while I'm trying to get better at this. So I kind of just started focusing exclusively on coming up with Colorado themed designs. So a lot of people who live in Colorado will know the Colorado flag is super popular in Colorado. You see people wearing it all the time, both locals and tourists. And while there's some really cool stuff out there, no doubt, there's also a lot of very kind of generic stuff where you kind of just slap the flag on there, or maybe there's some mountains on there, but it doesn't look like, from a graphic design perspective, a ton of effort was put into it, which, hey, if you can make money doing it, that's great. But I kind of wanted to see, all right, there's so much more to Colorado, and the views are incredible, and there's so much inspiration that could go into designing Colorado themed products. So I just used that as my inspiration as I tried to get better and better. And then I found myself like, oh man, it'd be kind of cool. I wonder if anyone would buy this t-shirt. And I had a couple of buddies and friends be like, oh dude, that's a pretty sweet design. I'd buy that. And so I came up with the name ColoradoCool, which is not necessarily a reference to the brand, not trying to say like, oh, our stuff is so cool. It's more of a reference to, more of a tribute to the state, where like in Colorado, if you tell someone you're going to take them on a really cool hike, or hey man, the view's really cool from this spot, whether it's a a local buddy or it's a tourist, I feel like the expectations are pretty high. So if you're going to tell someone that something in Colorado is cool, they're going to have pretty high expectations for what that means. And so that's where the name Colorado Cool comes from. And we're trying to, we're aspiring as a brand to be looked at the same way, where our products are on a high level when it comes to quality and design and just, what we put an emphasis on in regards to working with other local Colorado companies and stuff like that. So that's sort of the background of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I will say, John, I love your stickers too. I mean, we're here in Colorado. We're both pulling for our nuggets tonight and stuff, but I love how you focus on more of the nature elements. And yes, mountains come out in a lot of designs, but I kind of like your approach to, yes, the Colorado flag is a cool design. We see lots of designs with the Colorado flag, but I really love how you're pulling in nature. And I can resonate with the Colorado cool thing, because most people I meet are like, yeah, Colorado is cool. It's like, what should I do? And it's like, ooh, I have a list for you, because there's like just too many areas of Colorado and the landscape, and there's so much that's beautiful. So it's awesome to see your brand pulling that out in stickers and your other merchandise, your shirts and things you sell. So on that note, what is maybe a fun fact you want to share about Colorado Cool, whether it's starting up the company or you name it?
I think a fun fact would be I kind of had a soft launch for the company in 2016, and then in 2017 I met my girlfriend, who's now my wife. Her name's Erica. Working at Zephyr. We actually both studied graphic design at CSU, and we were in the art program studying we overlapped for 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years, and never met. Like, we didn't recognize each other or anything, and the art building is not that big, so that was kind of surprising. But what's cool about it is she was born in Grand Junction, and then she moved to a small town south of Grand Junction called Delta, and I grew up in Colorado Springs, so we have someone from kind of each side, both the West Slope and the Front Range, who's a big part of the company. And I feel like that's representative in our designs, like our landmark flag design that's behind me. There's a lot of stuff worked into that design that, to be honest, I wasn't even aware was in Colorado, just because, I didn't go past or west of Glenwood many times until we started dating. But there's a lot of really sick stuff on this side of the state. And so I feel like that's kind of mesh of her being from the west side and me being from the Front Range contributed to our company representing the state as a whole more so than some other companies do. So we're pretty proud of that.
That's awesome. And that's amazing. You get to work together now on this brand after all that time together too. How do you, maybe it's for, kind of how to both of you, but how do you approach finding new designs, especially after you've kind of gotten a brand established and it's going, and there is a lot to feature in Colorado, as you're referencing?
Oh man, it's definitely like a constant, I don't know, it's something I'm always trying to keep an eye out for, when we get out and hike, and we like to paddleboard and go snowshoeing and things like that. And so it's always fun kind of trying to keep an eye out for new designs and things like that. And then, really just a lot of what the progression has been in regards to our products is honestly just me putting in a lot of time over the years to kind of get better as a graphic designer. When we first started out, there was stuff that I sort of pictured, but I wasn't, I frankly just not good enough at design to execute it well. And so that's been the most rewarding thing for me. I put in a lot of hours. Anyone who owns their own business knows that, just because it's the weekend doesn't necessarily mean you're not getting back after it. Early on Saturday mornings and stuff is normally a time for me when I don't have to worry about answering customer service emails, or this is coming up or that's coming up. I try and get up early and just enjoy some nice quiet design time and kind of just try and push my limits a little bit, and find ways to represent the stuff that we see around the state in just more and more progressive ways when it comes to the level of design and stuff like that. So
Yeah. What are some challenges you face maybe in the initial startup phase years ago, or maybe it's current, like challenges that have just been obstacles to growth in your business?
Oh man, I don't know where to start. A lot of people say when they're thanking people for things like, oh, I wouldn't be here without so and so. And when it comes to, my wife, Erica, I literally don't think that the company would, it definitely wouldn't be where it's at right now. It may not even exist, to be honest, just because the challenging thing about apparel is that it's not like, when you're developing an app and stuff, I'm sure, there's a lot of upfront cost and everything, but it's like, you develop the software and you kind of sell it. And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how that works, but with apparel, it can be super challenging because like our first big client was Shields. Like, I don't know if everyone's familiar with them, but it's this massive store that's basically like a mall inside of one big store. And that was the first big account that we got. Their first location was in Johnstown, Colorado, and it was right across the highway from where Eric and I used to live in Loveland. And so I basically just bothered them for a couple months until they gave me a meeting. It was nice and convenient for me to go in there and try and track them down and stuff. But it's like you get that big account, it's super exciting, but then you have to figure out, okay, how are we going to keep up with all this inventory? Like you start getting orders from an account like that and you have to give like net 30 terms, and printing shirts, you have to have smalls through double XLs, and you don't know exactly how those size runs are going to sell through. So you might have 100 shirts left, but you're out of one size. So you have to reorder those. And so just the cash flow, honestly, has been the most challenging thing for us. But another thing that Erica and I are super proud of is that we still own like 95% of the business. We haven't had to give up any substantial equity. And a lot of that is just because of how long we stayed at our day jobs and just were willing to kind of put in those hours in the evenings and on weekends, so that we didn't have to give up equity in order to keep up with our growth. So that's probably the biggest thing, is just, keeping up with the cash flow and stuff like that. And the other thing is, I think a lot of people, when they think of starting a business, they want to have this huge launch and they want it to just take off and start running right away. And we had so many people ask us over the years, oh, has it taken off yet? And I've kind of laugh about that. It's like, I don't think that that's like going to ever happen. I think it's just going to be a slow, steady growth. It's not like coming up with, selling clothing that is taking advantage of what a cool place Colorado is. It's not like that was exactly a unique idea. There's a lot of competition out there, so it's taken time to carve out, our portion of that business. I mean, you're competing against companies that have way more experience, that have established relationships with all the buyers for all the shops. They've got way more resources. They can print shirts in way higher volume, which makes costs go down. And so, just being willing to put in a lot of those unpaid hours is sort of what got us through all that time. And I'm lucky to have Erica, who not only was she like supportive from a sideline standpoint, she really jumped in the trenches with me. And when, we needed to get up early, she was up early with me. And not to mention the fact that she does graphic design with a lot of experience in web design and marketing. So that complements my skill set very well. So I do a lot of the product design, and she gives me a ton of really great feedback on all of my designs. Our product line wouldn't be as good without her critiquing my stuff and telling me it's not ready, or maybe adjust these colors or whatever. And then she handles all the marketing and design stuff, because I'm not smart enough to code or anything like that. So luckily I have her to help me out with that.
Yeah. There's so many good points you brought up there that I think could resonate with a lot of people, whether it's in business, startup, thinking about starting up a business, like cash flow being like, obviously one of the most important things. People go into business to make money, but how do you get that upfront investment? And I love that your story of how you're able to do that and keep control. It's not possible with every product out there. And you brought up technology launches. Some things you need investment, but I think that's very commendable that you've been able to do that and have a partner too, whether it's teamwork, collaboration in business. It's like, it is so critical to have support wherever you can find it. And then the other thing you brought up too around steady growth, as a marketing professional, I know that too. You're always looking for the next thing, right? The next viral sensation. People talk about viral on social all the time, and things that are going to bring in everything, and it's just not real. It's very rare, and the stories around those types of things aren't sustainable as a business typically either. So I think steady growth should be the goal of people out there. And the final point you made is people need to check out Shields if they haven't been, because the first time I went to Shields was actually it was 2021. So it was after I hadn't been to stores in a while because of that big pandemic thing that happened. And I don't know if I was overwhelmed about being a crowd again, or if the fact that there was a Ferris wheel in the middle of a store and 2 levels and I didn't even know where to go look for stuff. But the fact that you landed ColoradoCool in Shields is incredible, because that store is kind of a unique attraction of its own right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a huge step for us. I mean, when I first got a meeting with them, we were in a conference room with a table that could probably fit like 100 people. And at that time, any one of the stores that we were in at that time, you probably could have fit in that conference room easily. So like it was a big jump for us. And to be honest, Ashley, the woman who I met, who was awesome. She was great, super friendly. The response to the line was great. But she was using business terminology and stuff, and I did not know what she meant. Like I didn't have a ton of business experience. I read a bunch of books and stuff as I was starting the company, trying to learn, but she was using certain like fulfillment terms and stuff like that. And I was just pretending like I knew what she was talking about. Like, oh yeah, no, we can definitely make that happen. Totally. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I got to Google that when I get home. So yeah, it was nerve wracking, but it went well, and they've been a great account of ours for years, and they're really great about prioritizing trying to bring some locally based companies into their local section, because there's a lot of companies out there that sell Colorado shirts and stuff that aren't based in Colorado. And while they have some of that, because some of those companies have really well made stuff and all that. They've definitely been awesome to work with in that, like I said, they prioritize the fact that we're actually based in Colorado. And so, yeah, that was a huge step for us. And it was pretty wild going in for the first time and seeing our stuff. We actually got in there like right before the pandemic. So The first time I went in there and saw our stuff in there was like 10 people in the store. It was like not many people were out and about at that point. So it was like a really weird first experience kind of seeing it in there. But they were open, and I was like, I have to go over and see it. I live like 5 minutes away, and I hadn't been to many. I didn't go to many stores really after that either, but I had to pop in there and see our stuff in there. It was pretty surreal.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, we've talked a lot about ColoradoCool, but what all apparel do you offer? What are you selling for people out there?
So we sell like a lot of different hats, shirts, just all kind of Colorado themed stuff. We got hoodies, tank tops. We just came out with a kids line. We worked with a former colleague of mine at Zephyr, who's a really talented artist, to develop a kids line where we have like a cartoon Bigfoot, a bear riding a mountain bike, a moose summiting a 14er. So our first kids line is off to a good start, which has been super exciting. You can find that in Shields at the kids section, Colorado Springs and Johnstown. And then we saw a lot of stickers. So, and honestly, making stickers for you guys has been super awesome, actually, in a couple of different ways, in ways that maybe people wouldn't anticipate. So I'd love to talk about that if you want to.
Oh, John, you can talk stickers on this show. So I would love to hear more about stickers and what you all are up to with your stickers.
Yeah. So first of all, to be honest, like not having a lot of business perspective, you think about selling a sticker and it's like, okay, you sell a sticker for what, $4, in that range. And it doesn't sound like you can make a lot of money off of that, but we have consignment booths in the Park Meadows Mall, which is big mall in South Denver, for those people who don't know it. Southwest Plaza Mall, Colorado Mills, and we sell a ton of stickers out of there. Particularly, like when I was a teenager, I never had a lot of extra money, but you go to the mall with friends and stuff, and it's like, it's just cool to get something. And so you just, I skateboarded a little bit. So I was like, oh, a Spitfire sticker or something like that. You go into the skate shop and it's like, well, I can't afford a new deck or anything like that. So I'll enjoy the artwork and everything. And then I can at least walk out of here with something. I'll grab a new sticker or something. And so we sell a lot of stickers and our margins on them are really good. And we're starting to get really big wholesale orders for stickers where people are buying a couple hundred at a time. And so it's been profitable from that standpoint. So at first, the first stickers I ordered from Sticker Giant, I looked at them purely as marketing. I was like, hey, I'll hand these out to friends. They're not very expensive. You can do some different designs. And so, yeah, it was all marketing. And we now what we do is we subtly put ColoradoCool Apparel on all of our stickers so that it doesn't feel like the person is advertising for our company. Because some people are kind of weird about that, they're like, oh, I don't want some giant thing that has like a website URL on it or something. So our name is not even very noticeable on our stickers but we want it to be like, okay, well, if they're like, oh, well, what company makes this? That's on there. It's like maybe kind of tonal or it's worked into the design or something. So it's awesome for marketing. We give out a free sticker with every one of our online orders. And we don't really advertise that much that we do that, but we have a lot of stickers that correspond with our product designs. So we'll just toss in kind of a free sticker and it's great for marketing and people get really excited about a free sticker and it's not that expensive to offer. And then the biggest thing though that I tell people about who are thinking about getting into apparel, where stickers have been extremely beneficial to us in a way that I wouldn't have anticipated, is there a super good way to test out how a design might sell without having to invest a ton of money into it? Because if you have a shirt design and you have a lot of colors on there. We print all of our shirts locally in Denver through a company called Superior Ink, who does an amazing job. They're very eco-friendly. They've been amazing to work with, but we also invest in high quality shirts so they're comfortable and all that. So, I mean, you have to print a lot of those for them to be able to hit margins and stuff like that. And you never really know how well something's going to sell until it's on the shelf and it's either selling or it's not. I used to think that, oh no, I think this is sick. It'll definitely sell. And then it's like, well, never mind. That did not quite work out, because, you're selling stuff to other people. And so you just never really know until you know. And so when I have there's a certain sticker that we have been coming out with recently where it's like a skull and they're wearing snowboarding goggles and it's just a little edgier than some of our other designs. It's pretty detailed. There's just a lot going on with it. And that was one I was super excited about, but I've learned my lesson enough times to where it's like, well, this is a lot of colors. It'd be expensive to make these shirts. So let's make a bunch of stickers and see how they sell before we invest in putting them on shirts. And we can't keep them on the racks as far as stickers go. We've done ones with beanies and snowboard goggles. We've done ones with kind of trucker hats and sunglasses for the summer. And the summer ones are off to a great start. And so now we're like, okay, now I can put this design on a shirt without, losing sleep at night and just risking, with a company like ours, we've grown a lot, but we're still in a place where you make a mistake with 1,000 shirts. That's tough, So, some advice to people out there who are looking into apparel. If you're curious about if one of your designs may or may not sell and you have an opportunity to try it out as a sticker, that's been super beneficial for us. I've saved a ton of money and been able to invest in shirts much more confidently after seeing that it sells as a sticker. So.
Yeah, that is a fascinating concept. I've been helping sell and help create stickers for years, and you're the first person I've heard of that's using that as like kind of testing the market for that type of thing. So kudos to you, and I'm excited to hear about those new designs too. That sounds like a lot of fun. Real quick, John, what is your favorite sticker that is not a ColoradoCool design?
So I mean, there's a lot of cool ones out there. There's a lot of talented artists and stuff. But so one that I probably have to choose is one that I don't actually own. I don't. Have you ever seen the movie Slapshot? Like, it's an old hockey movie.
Yes, it's been quite a while, but yes.
Yeah, it's an old movie. It's an old movie. So I grew up playing hockey. And I started playing right around the time the Avs came to Colorado. So it was a pretty epic time to be playing a sport here. They won the Stanley Cup their first year, and so it was awesome. So yeah, that was my sport growing up. I actually have a men's league game tonight after the Nuggets game. The late game is at 10:20, which I normally go and like have already been asleep for an hour at that point. So, but anyway, sorry, don't mean to get off topic. I was at a taco shop at Carolina Beach. I have a lot of family in North Carolina, and it was this super cool taco shop. They're playing all this kind of like ska, like pop punk music, and they had all these cool stickers like all over the place. And they had one in the bathroom on the mirror of 3 characters from the movie Slapshot. They're called the Hanson brothers. They're these really like kind of dorky looking guys with long hair and Coke bottle glasses, and they just look like there's no way these guys are going to be able to play hockey. And then they're just like these ruthless, like hit super hard, getting all these fights, like, and also are really good, score a bunch of goals. And I was using the bathroom at this taco shop, and they had one of the Hanson brothers, but they were skulls, and they were wearing their uniforms and had that, and it was on the mirror, and it was super cool, and actually inspired me to put a little time into designing those skull designs of ours that I mentioned. Obviously, it wasn't, doing skull stuff isn't exactly unique, but these ones were so sweet. And yeah, I actually tried to find one online for a while, and I couldn't find one. So if anyone out there knows where I can get one of those, I'd appreciate it, because I don't know if I've ever seen a sticker I got as excited about as that one. So the PBRs might have contributed to that, but either way, it was a sticker.
You sharing that story, I'm thinking of all the taco shops and breweries and random restaurants where sticker collections are all over mirrors and bathroom stalls alike, and it's kind of funny what you run into with stickers all over. So real quick, John, you've had some really good success with ColoradoCool. It's amazing to hear your story and where you're at just so far. I want to end on one thing. What advice would you give to people out there that maybe they have an idea for an apparel company, maybe they just have a business idea, but what would you tell entrepreneurs thinking about starting their own thing?
I would say, don't be afraid to start small. Everyone wants, I guess like you said, with the tech companies, it's like you hear about these companies that get sold for all this money, and those companies, they probably spent a ton of time working on that, and who knows how many ideas they had before that or whatever. But you see these companies that have these huge launches and stuff like that, and for people who have money, or it's a celebrity brand or something like that, like, hey, that's awesome. But I think just not being afraid to start small. I made so many mistakes in the early days, just not really knowing what I didn't know. But the nice thing is that all those mistakes happened at such a small scale that they were mistakes I was able to recover from. And I've been grinding on ColoradoCool and trying to improve our product line and figuring out what sold and what didn't sell, and what buyers at small shops, their feelings on my brand. In the early stages, we didn't even use the Colorado flag. I wanted it to be so unique that I'm not even going to use this. And then buyers were like, yeah, no one's going to buy that. So like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but like, we're good, So by the time I had like my meeting with Shields, you know, we were 3 years in, and the company had seen some, you know, we'd taken some steps that we were really proud of at that point, but you know, it'd been a lot of hours and we hadn't grown, you know, as much as I would have liked at that time. And there were times I was frustrated, but I was also putting in a lot of hours making the product line better so that when we started to see some of those real opportunities, we kind of we were able to hit the ground running. When we got stuff in Shields, the stuff sold very well. And if we would have gotten that opportunity a few years before that, I don't think it would have sold that well. And who knows if they would have given us a reorder or wanted to bring us in that next season. So, you know, just, and when you start small, like you can, no one's paying that much attention. So you don't have to stress about it that much. Just try and take some small steps every day, create deadlines and you hold yourself accountable. I mean, I had some designs that no one was waiting for, and I stayed up until the middle of the night finishing them because I kept procrastinating and kind of putting off ordering. That was my first round of shirts. And so, you know, set some deadlines for yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and be okay with it being small for a little while. And just look at that as sort of a learning experience, you know?
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. A lot of timing and patience involved in most things, but especially in business and growing a business. John, final thing, anything people should know about that you'd like to share coming up with ColoradoCool Apparel? Anything fun you want to shout out or let people know is in the pipeline?
I mean, all of our new spring stuff is on the website right now. Our website is Colocool.com. It's COLO cool.com. People ask, oh, why not Colorado Cool? There's some old, funky like jazz band somewhere in the mountains that already had that, and they weren't interested in giving it up. So it's Colocool.com, and we got a bunch of, you know, sweet stickers that this awesome company, Sticker Giant, manufactures for us. And yeah, we're just doing a bunch of different kind of custom stuff these days. We've gotten to the point where shops are ordering more custom stuff from us, which is really cool because they have to invest more in that. And so it says a lot about kind of how they see us as a company and having faith in that our stuff will sell. So I guess while you're out traveling around, whether it's at Shields or, you know, we just did a bunch of stuff for a small shop in Creede, Colorado. For those of you who are going through Creede or other small mountain towns, just keep an eye out for our stuff. We love working with companies like Shields is awesome, but getting to know buyers and family-owned small shops in mountain towns is maybe been the most rewarding thing. And just want to say thanks to all the people out there who make a point of supporting locally owned companies. I wasn't that aware, you know, being in my 20s and not having much perspective on those types of things. But man, when you have a locally owned business and you see how many people in the community, just throughout Colorado and everywhere really, how many people kind of go out of their way to support small locally owned businesses, it's very cool, and it's something that makes you want to give back. I mean, these days, I can't remember the last time I bought beer that was brewed outside Colorado from a smaller brewery, and love kind of looking for small Colorado companies to support. So yeah, kind of a long-winded answer back to, you know, check out Colocool.com, I guess, but that's just in general kind of the stuff that we're excited about these days. So.
Yeah, thank you for that, John. Unless people out there like jazz, then now they know ColoradoCool is a jazz band too. But
yeah, man, I've never gotten too deep into their catalog, but I'm sure they got some awesome stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Sweet name.
It is. Well, John, thank you for keeping Colorado cool with amazing designs and spreading that awareness. And thank you for being a great customer of ours too. And thank you everyone for listening today. That brings us to the end of our Stickers on the Mic podcast episode. We hope to see you back here where we continue to tell stories of entrepreneurs, founders, and other business owners and ways they're growing their business. So thank you and have a good one.